"Excuse me, are you my dad's date?" The voice was small, confident, and completely unexpected. I looked up from my phone and found she wasn't looking at the waiter. She was looking at three polite girls, no older than 5, standing in identical matching outfits, bright, open, beautiful eyes fixed on me, saying, "I'm sorry, my dad's very late." "We are very sorry." The triple threat apology, my blind date crashed by 3 adorable demands. The flickering neon sign of the Last Stop Diner cast a sickly green glow across the checkered floor where I sat, nursing a lukewarm coffee that tasted suspiciously like regret. My blind date, Mark, was officially 40 minutes late, and the silence of the booth was only broken by the clatter of the short order cook slamming a spatula down. I checked my phone again, no text, no call, just the mocking glow of the time. I was ready to call it a night, resign myself to another anecdote about dating app mishaps, and call an Uber when the diner door swung open with more drama than a soap opera premiere. 3 tiny, identical figures, no taller than the sticky vinyl tabletop, marched in lockstep across the floor. They were clad in miniature, perfectly coordinated lilac dresses, their blonde hair tied up in bouncing pigtails secured with matching velvet bows. They stopped directly in front of my booth, peered up with eyes impossibly wide and blue, and in 3 sweet, perfectly synchronized voices, they delivered the line that erased every cynical thought I'd had all evening: "My daddy's sorry he's late." I stared, momentarily speechless, my carefully constructed exit strategy dissolving into the sticky floor. Before I could manage a reply that didn't sound like a strangled squeak, the triplets continued, their collective voice softening to an urgent whisper. "He said he had to finish one last, important thing, but he's bringing the good snacks this time." One of them, the one on the left who I immediately dubbed leader, pointed a tiny, accusatory finger at my untouched coffee. "Is that the yucky brown water? Daddy says only grown-ups drink that when they're sad." "Are you sad?" The middle one, observer, meticulously examined the napkin dispenser as if it held the secrets of the universe, while the rightmost one, enthusiast, bounced slightly on the balls of her feet, vibrating with an energy that could power a small city. I managed a weak smile, trying to piece together the sheer impossibility of the scene. "I'm not sad, sweetie. Just waiting." "And who is your daddy, exactly?" Leader tapped her foot impatiently. "He's Mark. The nice man who smells like peppermint and old books. He's going to fix your date." "Fix my date?" I was starting to suspect Mark wasn't just late, he might be running a low-stakes hostage negotiation or perhaps training a small militia of adorable, apologetic clones. Just as I was about to inquire further, a tall, harried-looking man, definitely the source of the peppermint and old book scent, burst through the kitchen door, a smear of flour across his expensive charcoal suit jacket. He stopped dead, his face a roadmap of panic. "Lily, Rose, Daisy. What did we say about approaching strange people in diners?" The 3 girls turned to him, their synchronized momentum broken as they instantly switched to separate, distinct personalities, Lily running to hug his leg, Rose hiding behind his back, and Daisy holding up a crumpled crayon drawing of a very lopsided dog. "But Daddy, we told her you were bringing the good snacks. And that you were fixing her date." "Mark, my date," Mark sighed a sigh so profound it seemed to suck the air out of the booth. He ran a hand through his already disheveled hair, his eyes locking onto mine with an apology that outshone his children's synchronized charm. Please accept my deepest apologies. I am Mark. I know this looks like an elaborate, slightly terrifying setup, but I swear it's not. I was having a disastrous day. A huge coding deadline blew up, the nanny cancelled last minute, and I genuinely thought I could get all 3 of them settled with a movie and sneak out here. Clearly, I underestimated the collective escape artistry of 6-year-old triplets. He gestured helplessly at the trio, who were now busy arguing over which of them got to hold the crumpled dog drawing. They are Lily, Rose, and Daisy. They are my world, my chaos engine, and my biggest, most adorable liability. I'm a single father, and apparently, my judgment is severely impaired after 48 hours without sleep. He slid into the booth across from me, squeezing his briefcase between his knees. The sheer authenticity of his mortification was disarming. I glanced from the flour-dusted Mark to the expectant faces of the triplets, who were now staring at me with the intensity of customs agents waiting for a passport stamp. "So," I managed, a genuine smile finally breaking through my annoyance, "the important thing you had to finish was apparently a high-stakes daycare escape plan." Mark chuckled, a weary but genuine sound. "Worse. I was debugging a complex algorithm while simultaneously trying to assemble a ridiculously complicated Swedish dollhouse manual for Rose's birthday gift. The deadline for the coding was minutes ago, and the dollhouse instructions might require a degree in structural engineering. I promise, I'm usually punctual, professional, and I never, ever bring the kids on a first date unless it involves a citywide emergency or a total collapse of my support system. Leader, Lily, leaned forward again. Daddy, you promised the good snacks. Are you going to go get the snacks now so we can stay and tell the nice lady about the unicorn fire truck? The request for the unicorn fire truck story sealed it. My initial reaction, annoyance, judgment, preparedness to flee, was completely overwhelmed by the strange, compelling gravity of the situation. This wasn't just a late date, it was an immediate immersion into the beautiful, terrifying reality of this man's life. I looked at the three little faces, their anticipation radiating off them in palpable waves. Tell you what, Mark, I said, pushing my cold coffee aside. Forget the coffee. If you tell me the story of the algorithm that needed rescuing, and let Lily tell me about the unicorn fire truck, I think we can call this date a qualified success. But I have one condition. Mark leaned in, his expression cautious. Anything. The good snacks, I said, nodding toward the triplets. They sound mandatory. Mark's shoulders finally dropped, a massive weight lifting from his posture. He pulled out his wallet, a genuine smile replacing the look of impending doom. Deal. I know a place 2 blocks over that does legendary milkshakes and has a truly shocking supply of gummy worms. It's a much better opening to a first date than a corporate apology. Anyway, he stood up, scooping up Daisy and Rose with surprising ease, while Lily insisted on holding his hand. He looked back at me, his eyes alight with gratitude mixed with the lingering exhaustion of a father who'd just survived a triple threat crisis. Come on. You have to meet the real boss, ladies. As we walked out of the diner, the triplets chattering 1,000 miles an hour about the merits of glitter versus chrome on emergency vehicles, I realized this date was anything but empty. It was overflowing, with chaos, with responsibility, and with an unexpected, undeniable spark. This wasn't the quiet dinner I'd anticipated, it was an adventure starting mid-sentence. I wondered what other surprises this man and his miniature entourage held. Maybe the lukewarm coffee wasn't so bad, it was just a palate cleanser for the sugar rush to come. We spilled out onto the sidewalk, the cool night air wrapping around us like a reset button. The neon sign from the diner blinked behind us, its reflection rippling across a puddle from an earlier rain. Lily was now dramatically explaining how unicorns could, in theory, operate heavy machinery if properly trained, while Rose carried her half-assembled dollhouse wall under one arm, determined to show it to the milkshake man. Daisy held my hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. You don't have any babies, right? She asked earnestly. Because if you don't, Daddy says sometimes people like quiet too much, and quiet gets boring. I laughed, a real one this time. Maybe you're right, I said. But I think I've had enough quiet for a while. Mark, walking beside me, shot a quick sideways smile, the kind that said more than words could. You sure about that? You've seen what comes with this package deal. We reached the milkshake place, a retro diner glowing with pastel lights and a jukebox humming in the corner. The triplets immediately made a beeline for the counter, pressing their noses against the glass of the dessert case like scientists studying rare specimens. 3 strawberry swirl specials, Mark told the server, and 1, surprise me, please, he added, glancing my way. I could tell he was trying to gauge if I was overwhelmed. The truth was, I wasn't. The chaos, the laughter, the crumbs already accumulating on the table, it all felt strangely right. You know, I said softly, I don't think I've ever been on a date where the chaperones were this effective. Mark chuckled, shaking his head. They're not usually part of the sales pitch. Maybe they should be, I said. They're doing a great job selling you as Dad of the Year. Lily slurped her milkshake loudly, announcing, Daddy always says milkshakes fix everything except bad Wi-Fi. The other 2 nodded sagely, as though quoting a philosopher. Mark laughed, resting his chin on his hand. It's terrifying how accurate that is. The laughter that followed was the kind that melts walls. There was no room left for awkwardness, only the kind of easy warmth that comes from shared chaos. When the girls were busy coloring napkins with stolen crayons, Mark leaned closer. You really didn't have to stay, he said. Most people would have bolted at the sight of 3 mini-me's barging in. Most people, I said, haven't been on enough bad dates to recognize a good story when it's unfolding. His expression softened. You really think this is a good story? It's unpredictable, I said. That's my favorite kind. Outside, the streetlights flickered like tiny lighthouses, guiding us toward the inevitable end of the night. The triplets were nodding off in the booth, their milkshake cups half finished and their drawings scattered like confetti. Mark quietly stacked the napkins, his movements careful, reverent. I'm sorry again, he murmured. For the chaos, the lateness, all of it. I shook my head. Don't be. You brought honesty, not excuses. And that's rare. He smiled faintly. You know, this wasn't how I imagined introducing myself. Maybe not, I said, standing and pulling on my coat. But sometimes the best things start like a glitch. He laughed softly. Spoken like someone who understands debugging life, we stepped outside into the quiet city hum. The triplets slept bundled together in the backseat of his car, their tiny heads resting like petals against one another. Mark leaned against the door, looking at me with that tired, hopeful smile. So, he said, would you maybe want to try a proper, kid-free dinner next time? I smiled back. Only if you promise to bring dessert. He extended his hand, mock solemn. Deal. Our fingers brushed, and something sparked, not the caffeinated jolt of infatuation, but the steady, grounding warmth of possibility. As his car pulled away, I watched the reflection of neon and taillights merge on the wet pavement. My phone buzzed, a message from Mark, thank you for staying. I typed back before I could overthink it. Wouldn't have missed it for the world.